Welcome back to Warzone and welcome aboard the AMX-13-90 to some first impressions. And I played this tank quite a bit and I expected worse, but to be honest, it went better than I expected, and it's not as good as a normal AMX-75, but it's okay-ish. Now what I'm talking about is that we are talking here about the AMX-13-90 with a 90mm gun that fires heat defense shells, which are for all intents and purposes the same as on the American-based 90mm guns that we all know and love, which you can find on the Patton series of tanks, the Type 61, RE251, you name it. And the damage output is greater than on the heat shell of the AMX-13 1972 or 30B2, which, again shows how bad the 105mm heat shell is. How it is implemented and how realistic it is, it doesn't matter. We're talking here about just the gameplay. And yeah, the AMX-13-90, how does it play? Well, very defensively, very opportunistic. You need to have a good amount of situational awareness. It doesn't have a stabilizer, but it has an autoloader, like on the 75mm variants, that fire solid shots, which would come off much better in the following engagement. So I've come around a Leopard, and I shoot him in the turret, not the engine, to disable his gun breach, so he cannot fire back. With a solid shot, I would have fired through the engine deck and would have one-shot him for sure. And there is another Leopard, and thanks to my 5-second reload, I can kill his loader, and nothing but that. And I waste another shot, so that's already 4 shots out of my magazine, and watch that shot. Yeah, I kill him, but watch the hit cam. Once more, in slow motion. I've got nothing. Sometimes it happens with heat shells that I get hit cams like this. I just wanted to show you to you once. So you do not have the one-shot potential in certain situations that you would have with a simple solid shot, firing through the engine compartment, or going more or less reliable for the ammo racks, which again, you need much more ammunition, and that means you need to reload more often. You have 3 12-round clips in total, and the reload between is, as usual, 45 seconds and 5 shots between the rounds, as I mentioned. Again, you should work around a very opportunistic playstyle, very passive, and if you go full in terms of taking risks, make sure that you know what you're doing. You need a lot of situational awareness to come off best. Now again, I go into position that I love from this side. My team is already approaching C, and well, again, I need a lot of points for my festive queues, or quests rather. I pop the smoke to make sure I do not get sniped easily if somebody gets around the corner. Capturing capture zones is always tricky because you're vulnerable from multiple sides, and even with the best of situational awarenesses, it just leaves you not a lot of room for errors, or any errors at all. I decided to not refill my smoke launchers, but go in again, and this time my team, I think, has captured C too early. There are still too many enemy tanks in the game, and yeah, the dying begins, and I'm going here into an observation position. This position has proven itself very nice because you can observe the enemy. They have no way to spot you. You can spot them with your spotting mechanics, which is great, by the way, and I love it. You can give intel for your team, and you can make sure that you are in charge of how the first engagement comes off best. Like in, I guess, 90% of the cases. So in the background we can see around the corner a Jagdtiger. I cannot directly spot him. I could potentially ping the map, but I guess the guy in C has a lot of troubles. Now one of the light tank features is to also help random teammates, and that is nice, but sadly I would pick myself in, or I would go into the risky position of giving the Jagdtiger another target. And I don't want to do that. So the Jagdtiger turns around, seems like he's aware of the other guy around it, but there is a Coelian. This is an SPA. If he would have spotted me, I'd be dead by the second. So I just turn the turret, not give away any sort of engine noises. I barely can hit the gun breach, and now I got it. And now I go full attack. However, the Coelian goes around, and again I get stuck on the wall, which is very annoying. The Jagdtiger has turned around, and I just simply immobilize him. In case my tank destroyer, he gets set on fire, the Coelian got destroyed. Now again I could capture C, which I'm about to do. And oh, yeah, that changes plans. Now this is tricky. I was first aiming at this RE251, but then I decided myself to aim at this M47, but he's still firing at me. I got the kill message, but that was the Jagdtiger that burned down. So I have to disable him by a shot in the turret, and now I go for the ammo rack, and I actually kill him with that shot. And now I can capture the zone. So that was a very weird moment again, but I managed to come off best. Then there is an RE251 which retreated in time. Hey buddy, that's my job. You know, I'm French. Okay, jokes aside, I want to capture the zone. I'm going into cover so that the RE251 cannot shoot me from the right, and I prepare to engage him with an ambush shot if he wants to come around this side. Meanwhile, I captured the zone, and again, now it's time to think about recharging the smoke, but I do not do it. The RE251 threat is too imminent, so I need to engage him. But he's gone. Okay. So at this point in time, there are not that many enemies left. And now I decided myself against helping this American medium tank. I could help him repair, but he is too deep into the enemy territory. And again, I would just be another roadkill for an enemy tank. And I'm not quite sure how big this guy is or how much he's damaged. And meanwhile, our capture zone got captured. Now, again, the enemy has lost a lot of tanks. So it's by now much safer to travel through open roads, which normally you should avoid in terms of, you know, becoming an easy target. But your mobility gets enhanced greatly over this hard terrain. So, the AMX-13-90. Do I like it? Well, it's not bad, but it's not my favorite. I would rather prefer the MX-13 SS11 because of the greater post-penetration damage output of the 75mm gun. And you also have as backup for the reload kind of 4 ATGMs, or for long-range snipes, or for engaging very hardly or very heavily armored targets, such as a Jagdtiger from the front at long distance, which you kind of should avoid. And you also should think about, you know, using your spotting mechanic a lot. So, to be honest, I still think that the MX-13 SS11 is one of the best of the MX-13s. Not just battle rating by battle rating, but overall. The HOT is too slow for its battle rating, even if you play it like an ATGM, even if you are very, you know, patient and ambushy with your playstyle. It doesn't really matter. You are too slow. You do not have the possibility to engage the enemy at your terms, which is something that a light tank should always do. So again, very opportunistic playstyle. I'm not quite sure if you have noticed that, but the spotting that I did on this Jagdpanzer 45 was a blind spot. I activated my binoculars and spotted him through an object where I knew he is behind that, but I had no line of sight. So kind of a little bit of abusing of game mechanics. Now I want to capture C for, I guess, my 5th capture zone, but I'm not fast enough. Too many tanks in there, and now it's about to hunt down the last remaining enemy tanks, of which there are not too many in this match. Now again, you still have no armor, your mobility is not the greatest for a light tank, and yet you manage to bomb it around on the battlefield. Light tank gameplay is not for everybody, I must stress this out. But I think with this patch we saw many good changes. Big maps which are still not used to their full potential because not enough targets on the big maps. We need like twice the team size for your team and the enemy team. Gaijin could do it, but they don't feel like it. That's the best statement that I can come up with, which is a shame in my opinion. A lot of potential again gets lost, and then people complain about big maps. On small maps, I think it's just too situational, and it's not that easy to make a light tank work. Yes, there are situations like on C, as I showed you, where you can spot the enemy, where you can disable them, where you can again dictate the outcome of the match. You have to be patient, you have to survive the first few minutes where there is the danger for you to get wrecked at its highest. And there is a tiger. I'm just about to aim at him, but he then gets obliterated, so no further kill for me. And those T-34s have their fun with this tiger too. And I set him on fire. Maybe he would burn down, or I would force him to stay still to get my last shell of this clip into him. But gladly for him, sadly for me, the match ends. So let's have a quick look at the post-battle results. Come on, load faster, load faster. I'm too lazy to edit this. Yeah, greatest YouTube channel on out there. Yeah, so 42,000, 43,000 silver lines and 4,730 research points, and we also got enough points to fulfill the quest for the holiday winter event with 2,680 score points. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this tank, and kind of how you judge the heat shell versus the solid shot. And we'll see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.